Everybody wants to face each other. So is that where we're at right now with Canelo Crawford?
No. Crawford needs the money.
Crawford needs the money?
Yeah, he needs the money.
No, how could you convince fans that he can beat Canelo if you...
I ain't trying to convince y'all that he can beat Canelo. He's a good fighter.
You know, I'm gonna make all those doubters at the end of the day, at the end of the fight, they all gonna cry when they get home. You know, and I meant that. I meant that. You know.
Gervonta Davis believes Canelo Alvarez will completely outclass Terence Crawford when they finally face off in the ring. He mentions that Crawford is not unbeatable and reminds fans that even Yurkis Gamboa managed to hurt him during their match. Davis sees this as proof that Canelo's strength and size will be overwhelming for Crawford. In his view, the gap between the two fighters is obvious, and the weaknesses Crawford showed in the past will come back when he is up against someone more powerful and dangerous.
No, how could you convince fans that he can beat Canelo if you...
I ain't trying to convince y'all that he can beat Canelo. He's a good fighter. But, bro, I would say smaller fighters are always better than bigger fighters because they're smaller, they know how to move and things like that. But this guy is great at what he do. And another thing, bro.
Terence Crawford has made a name for himself by constantly proving his critics wrong. The undisputed champion in both the lightweight and welterweight divisions is now aiming for a massive challenge against Canelo Alvarez at super middleweight. Even with questions surrounding the size and power difference, Crawford is confident that his abilities will stand out. In a bold message, he promised that everyone doubting him will leave in tears after the fight, showing just how focused and mentally strong he is as he prepares for one of the boldest steps in his boxing journey.
You know, I'm gonna make all those doubters at the end of the day, at the end of the fight, they all gonna cry when they get home. You know, and I meant that. I meant that. You know, everybody's talking about the size and, you know, me being a smaller fighter, but if you look on the stage, I've been sparring these big dudes my whole career. Like, how I'm gonna take a punch? They punch me every time we spar. So, you know, it's okay. You know, once we get in the ring and they see something different, like each and every time, it's gonna be another excuse why, the reason why Terence won and this and that and that is, but I can assure you, I'm gonna be victorious, and after that, we're gonna have another parade.
Gervonta Davis, one of the top names in the lightweight division, has not held back his thoughts on the potential clash between Canelo and Crawford. Known for his powerful knockouts, Davis has consistently picked Canelo to come out on top. He believes that Alvarez's natural size, strength, and experience on the biggest stages will be too much for Crawford to handle, especially since Crawford has never fought at such a high weight class. In Davis' view, Canelo's success across several divisions makes him the more reliable choice, even against a highly skilled opponent like Crawford.
We got between Canelo and Terence Crawford. Tank is going to pick Canelo to knock Crawford out. We all know Tank had his little run-ins with Bud and things of that nature, to where Bud said he will fight Tank at 147, which is crazy to me, right? Tank ain't going to no damn 147. But nonetheless, Gervonta Tank Davis go ride with Canelo. And, you know, he a smart man. He a smart man. Because I think everybody and their mama see that, you know, Canelo Alvarez is too big for Terence Crawford, just like Terence Crawford know it. But Gervonta Tank Davis always picked Canelo over everybody. Doesn't matter who it is.
In terms of experience and career accomplishments, Canelo Alvarez stands above most fighters in today's boxing world. Starting with an early clash against Floyd Mayweather, he has regularly stepped into the ring with bigger and stronger opponents. Fans of Canelo believe that while Crawford is undeniably skilled, he has not been tested against the same level of larger competition. This track record of taking on size disadvantages adds to Canelo's self-belief as he gears up for another major showdown.
I don't see Crawford knocking Canelo out. If Canelo lets Crawford get away with boxing, he may have a shot. If Canelo comes in there and boxes and cut the ring, Canelo has a chance of knocking Crawford out.
What?
Yeah.
You said Canelo got a shot at knocking Crawford out?
I think he does.
Why?
Remember, Crawford coming up for 135. And I don't know if y'all remember when he fought Gamboa. Gamboa rocked him a little bit too.
That was
And
a
we
long
talking
time
about
ago,
Canelo
Coach.
Alvarez.
That was a long time ago. If we gonna do that, Canelo got rocked by Jose Miguel Cotto.
I didn't know that. But on the real, Canelo has faced a bigger opposition. He's faced a bigger and a harder punchers. Who has Crawford faced that's a big puncher? Canelo's taking more hard punches than Crawford. The tail of the tape is going to be if Crawford can take the power from Canelo, and can Canelo box with Crawford and potentially hurt him and finish the fight.
Analysts are quick to point out that relying on previous comparisons does not do justice to this matchup. Canelo Alvarez is not Errol Spence Jr., and Terence Crawford is not Floyd Mayweather. Canelo brings a distinct approach with powerful shots, sharp upper body movement, and a rock-solid chin. On the other hand, Crawford's ability to adapt and switch stances makes him a unique challenge. Experts agree that this fight cannot be judged by old strategies and instead should be seen as a new clash between two elite fighters, each with their own strengths and style.
Terence Crawford is a dog, that's a fact. Heart of the lion, that's a fact. Great boxer, great skills, high IQ, future Hall of Famer, that is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. You know what else is a fact, ladies and gentlemen? Terence Crawford cannot afford to get hit with these same shots by Saul Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez is not the mean machine. Canelo Alvarez is not Sean Porter. Canelo Alvarez is not Gamboa, and he's for damn sure not Errol Spence Jr. This like Terence Crawford is not Floyd Mayweather or Lara. We trying to say that Bud's gonna do the same thing that Mayweather was able to do. Two different styles, two different type of fighters. Mayweather is a pure boxer. Terence Crawford is not a pure boxer. That does not mean that he can't box. Before y'all try to kill me in the comment section. Yes, he has the ability to box, but Terence Crawford is a boxer puncher, ladies and gentlemen. He gives angles, but he doesn't move like a Floyd Mayweather or a Lara. He's not on his toes like that. And he also likes to exchange when he gets hurt, and that can be to his detriment. And if he exchanged with Canelo a little too long, it might be NyQuil time. But y'all let me know how y'all feel about this in the comment section.
Canelo Alvarez steps into this fight with clear advantages in both experience and natural size. Competing at 168 pounds is nothing new for him, and he has already faced a long list of Hall of Fame level fighters. In contrast, this weight class is unfamiliar ground for Terence Crawford. However, Crawford is often seen as the most technically gifted boxer in the game today, with elite timing, sharp counterpunching, and the rare ability to switch stances smoothly. This showdown is a true battle between physical strength and ring experience on one side and skillful precision and adaptability on the other.
Boxing odd makers have Canelo versus Crawford Gillette close. Now, obviously, Canelo has the size advantage. He's 3 weight divisions heavier than Crawford. And most people believe that Crawford carries the skill advantage, being an overall more skilled fighter. Neither guy is known for tremendous defense, but it's still solid. And of course, they're both chiseled into the Mount Rushmore of pugilism for their ironclad wills. The one area that people say Canelo might have the advantage is in experience fighting heavier dudes. Now, obviously, all fighters spar out of their weight classes. But when it comes to actually fighting in the pro ranks with those 10-ounce gloves, Canelo's the only one between the two of them that has a multitude of experience fighting super middleweights and light heavyweights in the pro ranks. So does this slight advantage give Canelo the nod and make him a bit of a favorite? Or is Crawford going to prove that size doesn't matter and it's skills that pay the bills? What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments.
Veteran trainer Abel Sanchez has shared serious concerns about Terence Crawford's decision to take on Canelo Alvarez. Sanchez pointed out that Crawford has never fought at this kind of size or natural weight, making the move a major risk. He warned that stepping up too quickly can put even the most talented fighters at a disadvantage, where skill alone might not be enough to win. As an example, Sanchez mentioned Dimitri Bivol's win over Canelo, noting that even a naturally bigger fighter with stylistic advantages had to deliver a near-perfect performance to come out on top. His message was clear: if someone like Bivol had to dig that deep, then Crawford's challenge is even more demanding. Sanchez's comments highlight just how massive of a task Crawford is preparing to face.
He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I just think that moving up in weight without having fights to merit that, I think it's the wrong move. But he couldn't handle a 154-pounder the way that he was handling everybody else before. And Madrimov is not Canelo. Canelo's been used to fighting all the bigger guys and has done very well with the bigger guys. Nobody's hurt him. I mean, he's fought the biggest punch. He fought Gennady. Come on, he fought Gennady twice, really the good fights. And then Bivol couldn't. Bivol hit him with everything and couldn't hurt him. So how's Terence gonna do that? I don't think he can. I see Canelo going away maybe in a 16-12, 17-13 kind of fight. The first 3 or 4 rounds will be difficult for Canelo, or a little harder for Canelo because of the speed. But once he just like when Golovkin fought Kell Brook, the first 3 or 4 rounds where Kell was fast. But Terence is going to expose himself when he throws his punches, and Canelo's going to finally get this timing down, and I think we'll be able to control the fight.
Do you see a version of Canelo now that is slowing down? Obviously, a lot of people might point towards the Williams School fight, but again, despite how that one played out, people talk about his lack of motivation maybe for a fight like that. But do you see this version of Canelo declining?
No, I think the lack of motivation because of the opponent could have been the reason for that fight. I think these guys at that level, once they get a name, they're looking at a name. It's a different story. They're not only their motivation, but they're waking up earlier in the morning to go run. All those things come into play because they know they have a challenge ahead of them.
One thing with the weight, and again, Buddy spoke to me about this, is he said that if he was Terence, he'd come in just over the 160 limit, so he's just inside the 168 limit to try and keep a bit more of that speed instead of just like bulking up. Do you agree with that sentiment, or if you was Terence, would you just bulk up?
Well, let me say this. I, like everybody else, I read or I watch some of the writings on the internet, and to see that Terence is weighing 186, 190 pounds, I think that's completely the wrong way to do it.
Respected trainer Robert Garcia, who has guided many world champions, expressed worries about Crawford's preparation. Garcia cautioned that gaining weight too quickly can reduce a fighter's natural strengths, especially speed and reflexes, which are key to Crawford's style. He also rejected comparisons to Floyd Mayweather, pointing out that Mayweather always remained within his weight class and fought with great strategy. For Garcia, there is concern that Crawford's talent might not fully carry over to super middleweight if the added weight slows him down or hurts his endurance.
Look, with Crawford, I think gaining too much weight and too much muscle might affect them. If they're thinking of surviving and being able to take a punch and being able to go rounds, then they're trying to maybe go the distance, and they'll be happy with that. But I think Crawford's natural talent, Mayweather had it. You guys were just mentioning right now that Crawford.
Two-time Olympic gold medalist and multi-division champion Clarissa Shields shared her thoughts on the debate. Shields mentioned that boxing legend Shane Mosley expects Canelo to dominate Crawford, but she respectfully disagrees. She favors Crawford, pointing to his skill and ability to adapt as reasons he can handle the size disadvantage. As one of the most successful female fighters ever, her opinion matters, especially since she has admired Crawford's technical skill and mental strength for a long time.
With all due respect to Shane Mosley, he just said that Terence Crawford was going to get watched by Canelo. I don't think his word is really worth that much.
Do you think she need a year?
No, she needs till January, February. That's the timeline. She needs 6 to 8 months. She said out of her own mouth that she's in shape. She can come back. She told me that I'm too small for her. I'm not skilled enough for her. She punched too hard.
Trainer Rob Aosta strongly defended Terence Crawford amid doubts about his physical changes before the much-awaited fight. Some have questioned whether Crawford's recent weight gain was natural But Aosta firmly rejected those claims. He emphasized that the transformation came from discipline, a well-planned diet, and the intense demands of training camp. According to Aosta, Crawford has always been among the hardest working and most consistent athletes in boxing. He explained that Crawford's success is built not only on talent, but on unmatched dedication to preparation. The trainer pointed out that every part of Crawford's routine, from nutrition to conditioning, was carefully controlled and carried out with precision. Aosta called on fans and analysts to ignore baseless rumors and focus on the fight. He stressed that Crawford's improved physique reflects months of hard work and sacrifice. For Aosta, the real story is Crawford's hunger for greatness and his readiness to face new challenges in the ring.
Son,
Okay.
PEDs. Been hearing a lot about Terence Crawford and Victor Conte as of late. And,
I've seen that. Yeah,
and
little articles.
people are making accusations. People are insinuating that Crawford is indeed doping. And based off of his recent size, and they're not used to Terence Crawford looking this big. And give me some insight into that. Give me some insight into fighters walk around weight, PEDs, and criticism of the guy that hasn't tested positive versus the guy in the same fight that's tested positive and team has tested positive.
Right. First, I don't think Crawford's taking anything. I don't think he is. I think just the size difference in what he walks around to what he's been looking lately. That is that's just something that possibly, that's how he walks around. Now, Crawford's physique, he's the type of guy that if he becomes heavy, it shows in his face, it shows in the obliques, but he still got abs, he still got definition in his chest. You know what I mean? So he could just possibly just look like that. Now, mind you, there's still a decent amount of time. We're still talking about 4 weeks. So I'm curious to see how either wherever he is, the cut goes, or however low he goes, how it gets constructed on the way up.
Analysts have often said that the result might depend more on Canelo Alvarez's current form than on Crawford's changes in recent years. Some of Canelo's fights have lacked the intensity of his best days. If he comes back with his old style, pushing opponents with quick combinations and great stamina, he will be very hard to beat. But if he underestimates Crawford or fights too cautiously, he could get outboxed. For Canelo, this fight is about both reclaiming his former dominance and protecting his legacy.
In regards to Canelo's meaty workout, so what do we see there? We see a little bit of what he wants to do to take advantage of a right-hand southpaw matchup. Get his lead foot on the outside, bang the right hand down the pipe, set it up with the jab, and maybe even fire that jab at the lead hand of Crawford to just get it touch, step outside right hand down the middle. We saw Canelo doing a lot of cross-stepping, which is, I think, a bad idea versus someone who has good angle manipulation like Crawford does. Right? Every wasted movement is going to be a capitalization for Crawford to try to fire back on. And Canelo is going to be there to be hit with some counter punches. Make no mistake about it, Canelo will stand in the pocket. Yes, he'll try to make Crawford miss, but sometimes he'll even eat a couple so that he can be there behind that high guard, taking punches to look for one of the big ones on his own counter shot. So that can be a little bit of the gamesmanship too. That can be a little bit of the chess game going on, is who's going to land the bigger counter punch and how many of those can Crawford take moving up to 168 versus Canelo, who has been there and is fighting a guy that has fought at a lot smaller weight, that hasn't seen the power, like we talked about, the narratives being built, that Canelo brings at 168. Even now, all those things will come into play. I think a big important part of this fight is just how much Canelo utilizes his lead hand, because I'm telling you, it's going to be the most important thing in this fight. I really think if Canelo is back on his jab and is able to mask some of the stuff that he loves to do, which is that lead hook to the body, smashing hook on the arms, on the body, on the shoulders. He's able to hide it just a little bit and then hit you with that timing, that Canelo Alvarez timing that's been perfect, that put down Amir Khan, that put down Billy Joe Saunders, that found the button on Kovalev.
Rapper and boxing commentator Okino shared a simple but important view. The fight may come down to whether Crawford can handle Canelo's power. Crawford has shown toughness at lower weights, but Canelo's punches at 168 pounds are a different level. If Crawford can take those hits without breaking, the fight could turn into a skillful chess match. If he cannot, Canelo's raw strength might end things quickly. Okino summed up what many fans feel the biggest drama in this fight is this one question.
All right, let me ask you, you're a boxing fan, right?
Yeah, bad.
Canelo versus Terence Crawford. Like right now, according to betonline.ag, Canelo's favored -180, Crawford's 139. That means that if you bet on Canelo, you'd have to bet $180 to make $100.
That's not that bad.
It's almost 2-to-1 odds.
Yeah, but
almost.
Canelo stuff used to be way crazier than that.
Terence Crawford's no joke, though.
I mean, I would bet Terence Crawford on the fight.
So you would bet on Terence Crawford?
Yeah.
Why?
He never lost. Mayweather beat Canelo real easy. And I don't think Terence Crawford...
Mayweather beat Canelo way early on. Way early on.
But
plus, it's Mayweather.
Listen, Law is Mayweather. He cheat code. But I think if anybody can beat Canelo, it's Terence Crawford. I mean, I'm not betting against somebody that never lost. You know what I mean? Now, if Terence Crawford take his punches, that's what we got to see.
Yeah, September 13th in Las Vegas.
That's going to be the biggest fight ever,
It'll be on Netflix.
I think it's going to be the biggest fight ever.
Yeah, Canelo's getting $150 million. Crawford's getting $50 million. Huge paydays for everyone involved.
Plus, they're going to get probably back end money, too.
Yeah.
That is all for today's video. Stay tuned and see you next time.